We would like to invite His Excellency, the Ambassador of South Africa, Mr. Dennis, to give a tribute to Mr. Nelson Mandela. Thank you.
Firstly, allow me to thank Reverend Dr. Johan Reyners for capturing the essence of the advice that we have been given, namely that we must celebrate and not mourn the life of Nelson Mandela, because he loved life, and he loved it no less than all of us here. The only difference is that he was prepared to die so that we could live a more exciting life. So I think the message of the Jive captured the essence of Nelson Mandela. Mr. Huang Hu Yu, Chairman of the Sinauri Party, Mrs. Li Hui Ho, former First Lady, Deputy Minister Lee Kyung Soo of the MOFA, Professor Kim Sung Jae, Chair Professor of the Kim Dae-jung Library at Yonsei University, Desmond Akawa, Dean of the Africa Diplomatic Corps, members of the National Assembly, Your Excellencies, members of the Diplomatic Corps, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. On the 5th of December, Nelson Mandela peacefully passed on. May his soul rest in peace. The lofty words of an outstanding South African poet offer an appropriate epitaph at this moment. And I quote, "Kanti usekho osathetha, ilizwe lakhe linomava, linenxasa linomkhitha, lele mbumba yamanyama." And I translate, he's still there speaking, his voice is wise, tasteful, dignified, and it is unifying. Nelson Mandela was 95 years old and in failing health in recent months. We had a premonition that the end was near, but when it came, it still was a great shock to us, South Africans. The void was deep, but the well wishes that we received from around the world have surprised us by their scope and depth, lifting our spirits and making us realize that Mandela belongs not only to us, but also to the world. I am sure none will contradict me when I say that Mandela has made us so proud to be Africans. Nelson Mandela was part of an exceptional generation of youthful leaders that included Walter Sisulu, Anton Lembede, Oliver Tambo, and others who understood fully the colonial condition under which the people of South Africa lived for over 3 centuries. They fully absorbed the anti-colonial zeitgeist of their age, which was blowing through Africa, and applied that energy to their historic task of the liberation of South Africa. Theirs was an inclusive political vision guided by the principle that South Africa belonged to all who lived in it, black and white. In contrast, the ruling parochial philosophy posited that diverse people could never live in harmony, setting the ideological justification for apartheid minority rule and an oppressive security state. This contest of ideas was the essence of the liberation struggle in South Africa. Nelson Mandela articulated the vision of the liberation movement at his trial in 1964, and I quote, "I have fought against white domination, and I have fought against black domination. I have cherished the ideal of a democratic and free society in which all persons live together in harmony and with equal opportunities. It is an ideal which I hope to live for and to achieve, but if needs be, it is an ideal for which I am prepared to die." Close quote. This idea would be translated over 30 years later in 1996 as the core principle of our Constitution under the rubric of a non-racial, non-sexist, democratic South Africa, and has become the hallmark of our self-identity as a people. Such devotion to core beliefs, overcoming the intimidations of jail, death, exile, over a long period of time, moved the people to resist and overcome oppression, and I think moved the world to recognize that loyalty and commitment to core beliefs still does matter. The policy of forgiveness and racial reconciliation that defined Mandela's presidential tenure were a natural and almost effortless extension of this core belief, as the liberation movement had a post-apartheid vision. South Africans, and there are many in this audience, must remember that the ultimate goal of Mandela's generation was the improvement of the quality of life of the people of South Africa. Much progress has been made in this regard, but inequalities are sadly still a feature of our society. I do hope that South Africans in Korea work hard and study smartly, and eventually go home with their skills and contribute to the development of our society. This is the historic task of our age and the call for future generations of South Africans. It too will require a sense of mission, devotion, and commitment to realize. I would like to thank the Korean government for President Park Geun-hye's condolences, and also Prime Minister Jung Hong-won, who attended the memorial service yesterday in South Africa. I'd again like to appreciate the presence of Deputy Minister Lee Kyung-soo and the Director General of Africa from Moffat, Mr. Moon. I would also like to thank, on behalf of the Mandela family, all the Korean people who have sent flowers, letters, and messages of condolences and sympathy. I would like to thank members of the diplomatic corps too, for the many heads of state and government who attended the memorial service in South Africa yesterday, and who have expressed their sympathies in signing the condolence book at the embassy. In conclusion, I want to thank all of you, everyone present here today, who have joined us in this commemorative service on this cold winter's day. Kamsahamnida. Thank you very much.
The second tribute is from Chairperson Mr. Wang. Please come forward.
고 넬슨 만델라 대통령님의 서거를 진심으로 애도합니다. 고인을 떠나 보내는 우리의 마음은 한없이 애석하지만 지금 그동안의 힘든 사명과 수고를 다 이루고 이제는 주님 품 안에서 영원한 안식을 누리실 것을 믿기에 이 추도 예배는 보다 더 큰 환희와 영광을 기리는 예배라고 생각합니다.
I offer my sincere condolences for the passing on of Madiba, Nelson Mandela. With great sadness, we send him off. But since I believe that Mandela rests in peace in heaven under God's protection, I think this memorial service is joyful one.
하나님은 그것을 선으로 바꾸사 오늘과 같이 많은 백성의 생명을 구원하게 하시려 하셨다라는 성경의 말씀처럼 오랜 고난과 역경 가운데 선하게 인도해 오신 하나님을 찬양하는 요셉을 떠올리게 합니다.
I would like to quote Genesis chapter 50, verse 20. Quote, I would like to, you intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to achieve what is now being done, the saving of many lives. This reminded me of Joseph, who praised God, who had led him through all the bitterness and trials.
하나님께서는 은혜와 섭리의 손길을 통해서 인종차별이라는 엄한 굴레를 쓰고 27년간 감옥에 갇힌 만델라 대통령을 투쟁과 보복이 아닌 평화와 정의, 자유와 평등의 고귀한 가치의 전파자로 세계인의 마디바로 우뚝 세우셨습니다.
God made Mandela as a messenger of reconciliation and forgiveness by divine providence and blessing as he went through the 27-year imprisonment fighting against racial discrimination.
특히 만델라 대통령의 용서와 화해의 정신은 그의 조국 남아공이 흑과 백의 갈등을 딛고 무지개 국가로 설 수 있는 밑거름이 되었습니다. 이러한 정신은 우리 대한민국의 독립정신이었고 오늘날 자유민주주의 국가 건설을 위한 토양과도 맥락을 같이 하기 때문에 우리의 가슴을 더욱 울리게 합니다.
In particular, his spirit of forgiveness and reconciliation became the basis of rainbow countries which stood fast overcoming the conflict between black and white people. This spirit touched our heart since it is consistent with the spirit of independence of the Republic of Korea, which is also the basis of building up a free and democratic country of Korea.
소나기가 없으면 무지개가 없습니다. 꿈과 희망, 화합과 조합, 그리고 행복과 약속을 상징하는 무지개는 그러한 아픔을 딛고 피기 때문에 더욱 아름답습니다.
Without rain shower, there can't be a rainbow. The rainbow symbolizes hope, harmony, promise for happiness. It looks beautiful since it was made overcoming such sufferings.
외국인들도 우리 한국을 무지개의 나라라고 부르니 우리도 고인의 영전 앞에서 사회의 갈등과 반목을 끝내고 절망에 허덕이는 국민들께 희망을 선사해 드리는 만델라의 무지개가 떠오르게 하자고 이 자리에서 다짐해야 하겠습니다.
Korea is also called Rainbow Country. I hope this Mandela's rainbow will make us stop the conflict and give hope to Korean people who suffers from social conflict.
다시 한번 세계인의 마디바 고 넬슨 만델라 대통령님의 서거를 진심으로 애도하며 그분이 눈물로 뿌린 화해와 용서의 씨앗이 온 인류, 특히 대한민국 곳곳에 싹트기를 간절히 소망합니다.
Once again, I offer my deepest condolences to Madiba, the global icon. I wish the seed of reconciliation and forgiveness he planted with a lot of tears would sprout all around the world and especially in the land of Korea.